Hello everyone, it's me Uncle John. Today I am going to read S6 6023 Buster's Dino Dilemma. Chapter 5. There was still a little time for the kids to play before they had to leave. Pinky went back to being a T-Rex, growling and clawing at everyone who passed by. Francine and Muffy swooped over the grass as pterodactyls looking for something to eat. Arthur wasn't in the mood to play dinosaur. He was nervous. They're never going to get away with this, he told Buster quietly as they sat at a picnic table. We'll see, said Buster, but for the fossil isn't ours. Yours. You should get credit for finding it, but it belongs in the museum. I'm not giving it up, said Buster. He squeezed the fossil gently. It's like holding a piece of history. But what if they search us on the way out? We could get arrested. What if they have some special fossil detector alarm? I never heard of such a thing. Well, that doesn't make me feel better. Remember the time Muffy brought goat cheese to class and you insisted it was fake? Because you had never heard of it? That was different. It doesn't make sense that goats can make cheese if all they eat are a tin can. Well, you found out differently, didn't you? And what about that bionic bunny episode where the scientists invent an X-ray laser? They could have one of those here. Arthur looked around nervously. But the Bionic Bunny is a TV show, said Buster. I know. A lot of it is very realistic, though, based on true stories, I think. Maybe so, but I don't think. Tweet! Mr. Rappon was blowing his whistle. All right, everyone, he shouted. Let's gather round. The bus is here. Check your belongings to make sure you don't leave anything behind. Buster put his hand back on his pocket. The fossil was safe. His finger could feel the rough outline of the footprint. Uh-oh, said Arthur. Look, Buster. Ranger Ruth is coming toward us. She's going to frisk us. I told you this would happen, but did you want to listen? No, they must have some kind of a detector hidden in the trees. It's probably triggered by an infrared. Shh, hissed Buster. Ranger Ruth came right up to Buster and stopped. Any last thing you want to ask me? She said. I don't think so, the ranger laughed. Well, perhaps there's just something you want to tell me instead. What kind of thing? Well, I'm not sure. It could be some new dinosaur fact, or maybe Arthur squeezed his eyes shut. It was coming. The gamma ray detection that had caught them for sure. They were gunners. You might want to tell me you had a good time. Buster brightened at once. Oh, yes. You look a little uncomfortable, said the ranger. She patted Buster on the back. I hope you're not too discouraged about your fossil hunting. You have the makings of a real paleontologist. Thanks. She went off to say goodbye to Mr. Rappon. See, said Buster. We are perfectly safe, maybe for now, said Arthur. Chapter 6. After school, Arthur wanted to tell Francine and the Brain about the fossil, but Buster wouldn't allow it. Too dangerous, he explained. Well, who can we tell? Arthur asked. Nobody. We have to keep it a secret. When Buster got home, he went straight to his room. He closed the door and pulled down his window shade. Perimeter security in place, he said. Next, he wrapped the fossil in tin foil. Then he put it inside a plastic bag and put the bag in a shoebox. Phase 1 complete. He filled the rest of the shoebox with marbles from a bowl and put it on a shelf in his closet. Phase 2 complete, he said. Security protocol set. Alert status confirmed. At dinner with his mom and grandma, Buster didn't say much. You feeling okay? His mother asked. You're awfully quiet. Just tired, I guess. How did the field trip go? Okay. Did you find any nice fossil? Buzz almost knocked over his milk. Fossils? What makes you ask? What makes you ask that? I don't know, but I thought that's why you went to the park. Oh, right. Well, it was pretty interesting. There was a show. The ranger was friendly, and then we got to walk around. His mother nodded. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself when I was your age. We didn't go fossil hunting, she paused. Back then, dinosaurs was still alive, of course. Buster's mother laughed. Buster just rolled his eyes. What's that you have done to your mashed potato? His mother asked. Buster looked down at his plate. It kind of looks like a dinosaur footprint, his mother went on. No, no. Scooping up a bite and swallowing it, just a design, that's all. A little later, Buster went up to his room for the night. He tossed and turned a long time before he finally fell asleep. Thump, thump. What's that noise? Buster wondered. He looked out his window. A large dinosaur was looking back at him. There you are, said the dinosaur. Who, me? Yes, you, the boy who took my footprint. I want it back now. I think you're confusing me with somebody else, said Buster. No, I'm not. Maybe you think you can ignore me because I'm not that big. Don't be fooled. I have big and powerful friends. Dinosaur flicked his tail behind him. Buster saw a Tyrannosaurus and a Triceratops standing there. Tyrannosaurus, though, had Pinky's head, and the Triceratops had a Francine's. Give back the footprint, they shouted. Never, said Buster, and he slammed the window shut. What was he going to do? What were they going to do? Suddenly the room began to shake. His books tumbled off the shelves, and a box of colored pencils spilled onto the floor. We're coming, said the voices outside. We want the footprints. Buster grabbed the shoebox with the fossil in it and held it tightly. The room trembled around him, and he waited for the end to come. Chapter 7. Wow, said Arthur. That was some dream. He and Buster were sitting at their desks before class started the next morning. Buster had been relating the details of his nightmare. The worst part, said Buster, was that Binky's head looked so natural on top of the Tyrannosaurus. What about Francine's? Buster laughed. He looked at Francine, who was talking with Muffy and Sue Ellen on the other side of the room. She never looks completely normal, he said. Arthur nodded. He was happy. Buster had told him about the dream, but he was even happier he hadn't dreamed it himself. At least it's over, said Buster. True, said Arthur, but don't you think your dream was trying to tell you something? Buster considered it. Yes, he was telling me not to put so much chocolate sauce on my apple pie. Think I got a little stomachache before bedtime, Arthur sighed. So when can I come over and see it? You can. No one can. Arthur looked surprised. Why not? I've made very careful security arrangement. They shouldn't be disturbed. I'll be careful. Arthur insisted. Sorry, it's too dangerous. What if my mom came in? But Buster, what's the point of having the what? If we can't even look at it. Buster was saved. I'm trying to answer that question because Francine was on her way over. Good morning, Arthur. You look kind of tired, Buster. Didn't sleep well, huh? Probably feeling bad because you didn't find anything yesterday? What do you mean? I mean at the park. Said the big expert, Mr. Paleontologist. Buster's face got red. It's true that I like fossil, and yet with all your knowledge, all your tools, and yes, let's not forget your hat. Peace helmet. Buster corrected her. Peace helmet. Even with all that, you didn't find anything. Buster was silent. You're not being fair, Francine, said Arthur. Buster did a good job looking yesterday. Arthur stared hard at Francine. A really good job? She just laughed. Excuse me, said Mr. Rippon. Let's take our places. When the whole class was seated, he continued. I hope you all enjoyed our field trip yesterday. I knew it was exciting to have the chance to find a real fossil. Of course, finding them isn't easy. It would have been amazing if we had found signs of any dinosaur bones or teeth. Arthur fidgeted a little while Buster put his hands over his mouth and covered his eyes with his long ears. Oh, even rarer, dinosaur footprints. Wouldn't that have been exciting? Everyone nodded. Mr. Rappon shrugged, but this time it didn't happen. What's that, Buster? Nothing, Mr. Rappon. I thought I heard you groan. Well, anyway, just remember that throughout history, the great scientists have met with a disappointment first and then triumphed later on. Buster slumped forward on his desk. Keeping the secret was getting to be a lot harder than he had thought. Chapter 8. Mrs. Baxter was worried. Are you okay, honey? She asked. Buster jumped off his bed. Okay, of course I'm okay. Why wouldn't I be okay? Don't I look okay? His mother wasn't so sure. Well, you look a little tired. You're not having any problems at school, are you? No, no. Everything at school is fine. The phone rang. Buster ran to answer it. Hello, hi, said Arthur. I had a question about our math homework. Are we supposed to measure things by the foot or the meter? Foot? What makes you say foot? How else should I say it? Arthur asked. You don't fool me, said Buster. You know perfectly well we're supposed to do both. You're just checking up on my you know what? Honest, Buster, I couldn't remember if. Yeah, nice try, Arthur. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. He hung up the phone and returned to his room. He found his mother holding the shoebox. What is this, Buster? It feels kind of heavy. That Buster rushed over and took it out of her hand. It's a school project, very delicate. Hush, hush, top secret. Can't talk about it now. He put it back in the closet. His mother looked concerned. You need some rest, honey. Maybe you should go to bed early. Buster glanced at the window. Bed early? He squeaked. Sounds good. Some time later, Buster lay in bed, thinking about Fossil. His eyelids began to droop. There was a knock at the door. Who is it? Asked Buster. Fossil police. Huh? The door burst open. Ranger Roos and a police officer entered. They were dragging Arthur behind them. He was wearing a striped prisoner's uniform. I'm sorry, Buster. They made me tell. They tickled me. Why didn't you defend yourself? Buster asked. Arthur held up his arm. He was wearing handcuffs. Not a pretty picture, is it? Said Ranger Roos. And we have got the same trimmer ready for you. Me? What did I do? We have reason to believe you're hiding a dinosaur in this room. Buster's eyes darted to his closet. But that's ridiculous. There haven't been any dinosaurs for millions of years. How could? And the followed Buster's gaze to his closet, and they halted, hearing a strange sound. Trum, trum, trum. Care to explain that, Mr. Paleontologist? Asked Ranger Roos. Explain what? I don't hear anything. Trum, trum, trum. Stand back, said the ranger. We're about to. The closet door burst open. Tyranno T-Rex stepped out, roaring at them, guilty as charged. Guilty as charged, said the ranger. He looks hungry. Don't worry, you're perfectly safe. He's only mad at Buster for keeping him cooped up in the closet. The T-Rex opened his mouth wide, showing every one of his teeth. Buster screamed. Chapter 9. Buster was absent from school the next day. Dad wasn't really worried because he figured that Buster was just sick, but he decided to go by the Baxter's apartment on his way home. Mrs. Baxter let him in. Hello, Arthur. How are you? Fine. Mrs. Baxter sighed. I wish I could say the same for Buster. I kept him home today because he didn't sleep well last night. I don't think he's sick or contagious, though, so you can go see him. Thanks, Mrs. Baxter. When Arthur reached Buster's room, he found the door closed. He knocked. Buster, it's me, Arthur. Buster opened the door. He was still wearing his pajama. You're just in time, Arthur. I need help with the final preparation. Arthur blinked. The room was a mess. Everything had been emptied out of the closet. There was a web of string crisscrossing the room. What are you doing? Arthur asked. Well, first, I emptied my closet. That way I can tell what's inside with a quick look. I don't want any dinosaurs hiding in there. He pointed to the string. Now I'm making a dinosaur detector. When the dinosaurs come, they're not gonna catch me by surprise. But Buster, dinosaurs have been extinct. You know that. I think that's just what they want us to believe. It's all part of their master plan. Their master plan? Buster nodded. That's why they have left all those fossils to find. They want to trick us. But I'm not fooled. I'm going to be ready. Arthur sat down on the bed. Don't you think you're going a little overboard? Buster snorted. You wouldn't say that if you had the dream I had last night. Actually, you're there. Not the real you, of course, but the dream you. It was pretty scary. He took out a shoebox from under the bed. Here, you take this. Why? Faucet is inside. You said you wanted to see it before. Now you can have it. Buster, I don't want the fossil either. It isn't right. Buster rubbed his eye. I have to get rid of it, Arthur. I'm going crazy. Arthur took another look around the room. So I see. I thought it would be so great having the million-year-old thing to myself. I thought I would feel special and important, but all I feel is guilty. Buster paced it back and forth. I don't know, but it's driving me nuts. That's for sure. I can't even look at it anymore. Arthur stared at the box. The fossil doesn't belong here or at my house. He said, you know that. Buster sighed. So where does it belong? Arthur gave him a look. You tell me, he said. Chapter 10. Inside the Rainbow Rock Visitor Center, Arthur and Buster were anxiously standing by the door. They're taking a long time, said Buster. He rubbed his hands together. Maybe we shouldn't have come. Arthur tried to smile. Now, don't start that again. Buster paced back and forth. I can't help it. I'm not good at waiting. Do you think there is a problem? I sure hope not. Finally, Randall approached them. One of the staff paleontologist was with her. Good afternoon, boys. I'm glad to see you again. We are glad to be here, said Arthur. He looked nervously at Buster. Anwi? Buster nodded. So what can you tell us? He asked excitedly. Randall folded her arms. No decision has been made, Arthur said. Basically, we are just not sure yet. Still, said Buster, it had been a whole month since he and Arthur had returned the fossil to Ranger Roost. They had surprised her both because the fossil was rare and because Buster had taken it from the park in the first place, but she was pleased that he had returned it. And when she heard about his nightmare, she decided to go easy on him. Paleontologist smiled. I understand how you feel, Buster. Unfortunately, these things take time. We have to do a spectral analysis, carbon-14 dating. I know. Science can be rushed, but I was hoping for a decision before I become a fossil. We're getting closer. Dr. Marcy thinks your fossil is the footprint of a baby Daspletosaurus. Dr. However, thinks it's an adult koalasaur. What do you think? Asked Arthur. I think it's great that you two found the fossil in the first place. It did take a lot of looking. He stopped to think. The odds were against us. Luckily, we had brought our tools. The pith helmet especially helped a lot. I could see the fossil clearly when Arthur held it up. I might have missed it otherwise. Speaking of not missing things, I want to show you something. She walked them over to the display case. Next to the fossil print was a brass plate. It read, Dinosaur footprint discovered by Buster Baxter and Arthur Reed. Wow, our very own nameplate. I've never seen my name look so fancy, said Arthur. I think it's gold, said Buster. He paused, but how long does it get to stay there? For as long as the fossil lasts, said Ranger Woods. That's long enough for me, he said at the end.